With the pop artist is the trick of saying, well, I'm gonna make it look just the way the cheapest art looks, but with a difference and a twist. And people like Lichtenstein and Warhol, they paint nice pictures. All the same, it's easy stuff. It is, it's minor. And the best of the pop artists don't succeed in being more than minor.
Pop art's social effect is simply to reconcile us to a world of commodities, banalities, and vulgarities, which is to say, an effect indistinguishable from advertising art.
First show, Lichtenstein, even in a group show at Leo's Gallery, it was all the other artists that were being shown. It was Johns Rauschenberg and Roy Lichtenstein, this picture with the girl with the beach ball. What was it doing there? The other artists wanted to know. This didn't belong there. This was a cartoon. This had nothing to do with fine art. I got that from everybody who came in. Most of the leading newspaper critics admonished this development. They despised it, especially Hilton Kramer was immensely hostile to Warhol, Lichtenstein, and such stuff.
Pop art derives its small, feeble victories from the juxtaposition of two cliches. A cliche of form superimposed on a cliche of image. Pop art carries out a moderately successful charade, but a charade only. I have yet to see a work of pop art I regard as anything but low-grade art.
Do you think there are qualities of emptiness in pop art?
It's so hard to think about emptiness.
Are the soup cans empty or full? Mr. Gelso.
I don't think pop art is empty, if that answers your question. If we're both talking about the same thing.
No, it's what it's full of that bothers us.
I got involved in doing Esquire covers, and my job, in a sense, was to nail the times. An issue was coming up on the new avant-garde, and the new avant-garde was pop art. I called up Andy, and I said, Andy, I want to do an Esquire cover for you. You're the star. Wow, because he'd always talk to me, what are you going to do a cover for me? I said, he said, what's it going to be? I said, well, I'm going to take a big picture, can of tomato soup, open, and I'm going to have you in the middle of it drowning. He said, I love it. He was wonderful, So he came up and I shot him, doing all the drowning things. People who can remember that period, they all look back at the 60s as if it was the age of all ages, the golden age of everything, because New York was, there was a ferment going on, certainly in New York, and it was New York art world, and it was a New York advertising world, together, working together, almost in conjunction.
Of course, remember, there's an inherent beauty in soup cans that Michelangelo could not have imagined existed.
Talkative Andy Warhol and Gabby Sonny Liston always fly Braniff. They like our girls, they like our food, they like our style. Thanks for flying Braniff, fellas.
When you got it, flaunt it.
When you look back at the period, it was unbelievably complex and unbelievably vibrant and dramatic, with blood and killing and excitement in the culture.
Everything I have to say is in my sculptures.
It is
I'm
not.
stunned that you don't see it.
The 60s scene was an idea of liberation, was an idea of struggling against this military-industrial complex that is still ruling our economy.
I left the country because of the Vietnam War. We say democracy, and then the United States is guilty of something like Chile. That's incredible.
What we had then were the flower children were against the idea of war and looking at alternative ways of reaching a life.
You know, the arts retained an incredible momentum all through the 60s.
So much was happening in the 60s. You know, it seemed like there was a new development every week. There was pop art, which was probably the most visible, and there was color field painting, and there was the beginnings of the minimal movement, and right directly sort of connected with that was the conceptual art.
The 60s, there was so much intensity and energy that we were very busy doing what we believed, what we were obsessed with, and we did not think about it. We did not think that this is very important, this is very new. We just had to do it, and each of us were quite busy in our area, but we also, our lives overlapped.
It was a very, very social scene, which was, again, entirely different from the previous generation.
The entire social climate of the arts changed quite remarkably during the pop art interval, if you want to describe it that way.
But Henry was a great facilitator. He was like a bee going around cross-pollinating the scene. He was interested in practically everything that went on. He was involved in the happenings. He took part in a couple of them. I know he was in one of Klaus Oldenburg's happenings, in which he floated around a swimming pool in a rubber boat in a bathrobe and smoking a cigar. It was an indelible image. He was involved in the whole scene.
Because of his position at the Met, he dove in literally to swimming pool. I mean, he dove in to the art world, and he never could be accused of profiteering because he was up there. He wasn't connected to any gallery. And I remember in the winter time, Henry and I getting into a taxi with our wet bathing suits on with overcoats like flashers because Oldenburg had a swimming pool happening, and we were both wet, freezing, and getting in a cab. So, see, Henry would do this stuff like that.
And there was actually a picture of me in Life magazine, full-page picture, floating around on a mat in a swimming pool, wearing a bathrobe, smoking a cigar with Barbara Rose. And this was in Life magazine, and my director had died, and I was about to be either appointed curator or not. And the trustees called up and said, "You got to get rid of this guy." I mean,
you know, he supported the avant-garde, and he just raised the consciousness of everybody around him as how enjoyable art can be.
Henry loved the spotlight. He just enjoyed the company of artists and personalities and people and noise and newspapers and journals and movies and all those things. And that world was his world. He loved it.
Well, he thought of himself as legendary from the very beginning. That wasn't a problem. He was very sure of who he was, and